Welcome to a new tutorial. I will show you how you can add comments to your records in a way that appears like a conversation or a chat box really quickly using the out-of-the-box comment thread from Retool, which was recently updated. Let's go. Okay, so you're getting a view of a demo account of the SaaS platform I developed for business coaches. And apologize if they're in English, in Spanish, but I think they're self-explanatory, some of them. They have several tabs here: clients, products, income, outcome, and so on. What I want to do is to provide for each one of these sections, for each row in the tables that they all have basic tables, a way to provide comments and updates. So here you will see there's one bubble comment thread, and you can see the note here, and I can also go to another client and say, this is a note to say hello. So once you add that, then you're actually getting a bubble there, which is signaling the client that there's comments there. So this can be done for clients. It can be done for any other records that you have, whether they're invoices or payments. So let's go and take a look how it's done. Right, the first thing is the UI, the components. So for this box, whenever the user clicks on this row action, this one is actually a split frame. You can see here in my frames, I have a split frame, and then this is a comment thread, which you can find in the comment thread special inputs here, which you can basically add there, and really quickly it comes empty. This one you'll see it has a thread ID, and we'll go into the details here, and then some additional settings that you can the avatar, the empty state, refresh interval if you want this to be updating for your users. Maybe other users are chatting and adding, so you can add that as well. So this ID is a unique ID that you will save. So Retool is handling all of the data storage for you. So you actually don't need to do anything in your database. However, if you do want to have something like this and being able to surface the comments, what I have done is actually I'm saving the comments in my database as well. But if you don't want to do that and you just want this, basically you provide an ID, and Retool will do the whole heavy lifting for you, and you don't need to store this anywhere else. What I have done is I actually have used 3 identifiers. I have a verification ID. I just took the 5 strings of the accounts for the users. So these first 5 are for my actual account. So this is very unique. Then the object, you'll see the lead. For each different tab here, I have different object, and then the ID of the record, which is 445 for this particular record here. So whenever I will submit a comment, the thread ID will be this one. And whenever you give this thread ID, it will pull all of those comments. So if I go to this one, you will see that this is a thread ID lead 94. So it will bring and return all of the comments that match that ID. That's the box and the components that I've used. Let's remove this. Let me show you what I've done on my backend. So I created a table, which is threads. I added a bunch of things that I think are helpful also for statistics and giving you some more insight into the use of this box. I have the app name, the ID, which is the same thing, the ID that Retool is using, the object, which is which object, whether there's a lead, whether there's an income or an outcome, the actual ID of the record, the text, what's the comment being added, the thread ID. Sorry, this is a unique ID for that. Thread ID is the actual thread ID also being used by Retool and the user. And this is the verification ID, which is unique for my accounts. And upon a comment being submitted, I trigger an event which inserts a record with all of this. Basically, the comment thread 1 value, the thread ID, I'm actually doing the same thing here. You'll see the same pattern, which I show you in my thread box comment. And then the user, I'm just using current user, and then the app name, and the verification ID, which also takes from current user. And then you can see that I'm using a variable for taking the record ID and the tab, the object ID. So basically, every time a comment is being submitted in my thread box, I am triggering the comment thread. So I am also replicating what I have in the retool database. I'm replicating it. See, after I submit the comments, I have on page load a get comments query. So basically, I'm calling the object and the object ID. With that, now in my actual table, I can add a status indicator. Let me just close this here, and then I'll go to the actual table. Whoops. In whatever column you want, you can select it. In this particular one, I'm using it here. And you have an add-ons, and you have the status indicator. So basically what I'm doing is I'm adding a condition, when should the indicator be showing? And it's whenever my get comments query, if I filter it by the current source row ID, which is the ID, and the object, which is the lead for this instance, is higher than 0. So if there's any record, it should show. And you can see it just goes row by row, and it's getting false, 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 true, and false. And then the label that it shows is basically the length, how many comments there are. And then you can add the color and the icon. So the same thing goes if I go here to products. Oh, in products I didn't add it. But if I here go to income, and I will just say this was paid by cash, right? So now that triggers the insert comment, and also it will trigger the get comments. So here, if I go to the company and then I will get the status indicator, you will see again, it's searching for the object ID, which is the actual record ID for this one. In this case will be 1,436. And then if it's invoice, in this case, as you can see, the first one returns true. And then the value to return is the length of that. So you can see one. So by doing this, I have the option for users to input comments using the out-of-the-box comment thread box, but also I'm saving those in my database so I can surface them and show a small icon or a small status indicator so that users can see where some other user may have left a comment. And they will see the avatar and everything, and they can start a conversation in there. So this is really helpful. It really takes 20 to 25 minutes to set up, depending on the complexity. As you can see, I have many objects, but if you have just one, you can set that up, and it's really quickly, and it gives a nice touch for your users. I hope this is helpful. Do give me a thumbs up. That's very helpful to know. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Let me know in the comments if you want some other tutorial that you're needing or struggling with. Goodbye. Thanks.